so lovely, Jackie. Thank you for that version. So I have a few readings to share with you today. And so just settle in and get ready here. Knowing that the law of God is a law of love and of liberty, we are seeing freedom and joy and happiness and peace and wholeness, bless you, in everything we look at. We are responding to the divine calm, which is at the center of everything. And knowing that perfect love casts out all fear, we are strong and confident because we know that the law of God goes with us and prepares the way before us. That, of course, is Ernest Holmes. And Frederick and Marianne Broussard say, wonder begins in the senses, comes alive in the imagination, and flourishes in our celebration of the divine. It arises from our natural curiosity about the grand adventure of life. It increases our capacity to be a bold inner space tripper and an avid explorer of the physical world. There is no end to the things that can awaken our wonder, and it is all right here, a feast of epiphanies and astonishments in our daily lives. And I'll conclude with David White. To feel an untrammeled joy is to walk through the doorway of fear. The dropping away of the anxious, worried self felt like a death, a disappearance, a giving way. Seen in the laughter of friendship, the vulnerability of happiness felt suddenly as a strength, a solace, and a source. The claiming of our place in the living conversation, the sheer privilege of being in the presence of a mountain, a sky, or a familiar face. I am here, you are here, and together we make a world. And so the affirmation today, I'll read it once through. I accept the fullness of life. I live my life in wonder and celebration. I accept the fullness of life. I live my life in wonder and celebration. And so it is.
And so it is.
Good morning. I'm Joseph Salek, the music director here, and this morning I'm happy to be welcoming our special music this morning, Anna Yarrow and John Barney. Anna has sung here once before, and John is joining Anna this morning for the first time. So John Barney is a practicing Albuquerque artist, poet, and spoken word performance artist who has shown and performed work in New York, Miami, San Francisco, and around New Mexico. John currently daylights as the Leslie Knope of the Bernalillo County Parks and Open Spaces. He draws every day, often at Chatter Sunday, where he also performs. Anna Yarrow is a caregiver, photographer, writer, artist living in Los Alamos. She recently performed her play, The World Beautiful, where I was one part of the musical accompaniment, and since that time I've invited her to sing for our congregation. Please join me in welcoming Anna Yarrow and John Barney.
So Joseph invited me to sing here in January for the first time, and when I was trying to figure out which songs to sing, I happened to choose two love songs, which was a bit unusual because I was extremely single at the time. I decided not to date for a year and a half and just focus on myself and my own life. But since then, John has come into my life, and so today we'll be singing a love song together. And the inspiration for today's choices actually came from an experience I had a few weeks ago. The elderly gentleman, the mountaineer, that I've been caring for the last 6 years, recently fell and broke his pelvis. And through his rehabilitation, situation, he has now moved down to Santa Fe and is living in an assisted living home. And I still go and visit him 3 days a week. And so they were having a concert before dinner in the lobby, and there was a gentleman singing some songs and playing the recorder, and most of the residents were just kind of sleeping, sitting, dozing, not really into it, until he sang a line from an Elton John song that said, "Can you feel the love tonight? It's where we are." And all of a sudden, everyone just woke up and just kind of looked around. And my impressions, what I felt was that they were sitting there thinking of their loved ones and remembering back upon their many decades of life, their loved ones. And so it was just a beautiful moment, and it didn't last long. It was just everyone felt the love and then kind of went back to sleep again. So that moment was the inspiration for the 2 songs that I chose this morning.
Sometimes I don't know which way to go, and I tried to run before, but I'm not running anymore, because I fought against it hard enough to know that you love who you love, who you love. You love who you love, who you love. Stop dreaming who you're dreaming of. If it's who you love, it's who you love. My boy ain't the one that I saw coming, and summer said his heart's too hard to hold, and it takes a little time, but you should see him shine. Stop dreaming who you're dreaming of. If it's who you love, it's who you love. We too, how long we were fooled. Now transmuted, we swiftly escape as nature escapes. We are nature. Long have we been absent, but now we return. We become plants, leaves, foliage, roots, bark. We are bedded in the ground. We are rocks. We are oaks, we grow in the openings side by side. We browse, we are two among the wild herds, spontaneous as any. We are two fishes swimming in the sea together. We are what locust blossoms are. We drop scent around the lanes, mornings and evenings. We are also the coarse smut of beasts, vegetables, minerals. We are two predatory hawks. We soar above and look down. We are two resplendent suns. We it is who balance ourselves, orbic and stellar, We are as two comets. We prowl fanged and four-footed in the woods. We spring on prey. We are two clouds, forenoons and afternoons driving overhead. We are seas mingling. We are two of those cheerful waves, rolling over each other and interwetting each other. We are what the atmosphere is, transparent, receptive, pervious, impervious. We are snow, rain, cold, darkness. We are each product and influence of the globe. We have circled and circled till we have arrived home again. We too have voided all but freedom and all but our own joy.
Hello. 1 minute?
Tap on the mic.
Well, that still remains to be answered. Okay. Good morning, every day.
Good morning.
You know, there's never been a better day than today to celebrate.
Darn tootin'.
You love who you love who you love. Beautiful. And so perfect for today. For those of you who've forgotten since last week, I'm Reverend Ann Ray, and I am so blessed, privileged, grateful to participate with this community in the community of Santa Fe, New Mexico, and to together as this community, the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living, teach and practice the science of mind, which is a philosophy, in case you didn't know. It's not a religion. It's a philosophy. Now, why would I make that point, do you think? Exactly, Patricia, even though you didn't say it out loud.
Philosophy is the study of love, or the love to study.
Well, I want to tell you the peanut gallery has gone to a whole new level this time. Philosophy is the study of love.
Yeah.
And what difference does that make? What difference does that make in terms of how we live our lives and the choices that we make? how much can I love you? Can I love you enough to get you to behave? I can love you enough not to care.
Love is real.
Love is real. And it could be said, which has been said by many, that love is the only thing. That when we eliminate all the stuff, when we eliminate all of the illusion of separation, and by separation, I'm really talking about separation from what? From the one, right? And of course that's impossible, but I'll get there in a minute. And separation from each other, which creates divisiveness. That doesn't feel very loving to me. Divisiveness. The word doesn't even feel potentially loving to me. There's nothing it's too bad that Patty isn't here today with her additional commentary. Because any kind of decision that is made about something that separates us from it. So John, in the beautiful poetry section of the song, spoke of rock, leaf, earth, bird, tree, cloud. All of these things in nature, and as you know, I often take us to nature to look at what? At the evidence of how life is supposed to work, how life is designed to work, which is growing, which is a space for all things, which is self-nurturing. So even though there will never be a better day than today to celebrate, and you assume that that's about my birthday and Barbara's birthday. And it's okay for you to assume that. When we realize what is available to us, what is available to us to witness, to feel a support around us, to take in as that shoring up that we may need in any given moment, when we realize it's all right here, it's all right here. We're the ones that think it's far away. We're the ones that think that we have to work for it. We're the ones that think that we have to get the prayer right in order for the demonstration to happen. None of that is true. None of that's true. So, as y'all know by now, we have two cats. They're sisters. Very deeply bonded. One of them them is feeling a little out of sorts today, which is not her style. And I did a prayer with her before we left this morning. Out loud. She was lying on the couch and she actually opened her eyes while I was doing this prayer for her because she was snoozing. It was sort of like when the people woke up during that one phrase of Elton John. And when I did that prayer with her, I closed that prayer, and I very rarely remember what I say. Sometimes 5 minutes ago. But anyway, particularly when I do a prayer or give a talk, I very rarely remember what I say. But I do remember that I said this one thing that just came out of my mouth, which was, I am so glad to know, I am so glad and grateful and appreciative to know that the answers, the solutions, are all within me and around me. And the same is true of Corey. Now, why would I say that about myself? I'm a human being. Superior, right? I'm a superior being. Not necessarily so much. And my cat. Because it's true of the one which includes everything and everyone. It is true of each one of us in this room, online, watching in this moment, and whoever will see this video later. It is true of all of life. It is true of the trees that we see outside the windows. It is true of the rain. It is simply true. Because if there is only one life, that life is all life. There are no exceptions, even though some lives may act like exceptions. That's our judgment. That's us deciding, well, they're not acting like that life. And my question would be to anyone who is making that judgment, are you? Are you a revelation of that life all the time? At your highest and best? All the time? You know what? If you stop and think about it, we don't have time to criticize others. We don't have time to judge others. We don't have time to say about others, if only they.
Yeah.
If only we. If only I. If only I would step in to every opportunity that is before me. If only I would be awake enough to see it. If only I would be present enough to embrace it. If only I would have the courage to dive in 100%, to lean in 100% to all that is available to me. If only I. If only I. It's not about them. We don't have time to think about them.
Right.
And I can hear it. There is at least one person in this room that is thinking, or maybe it's online or both, that is thinking, but if we don't think about it, then they'll get away with it. And then what's going to happen? Kids, that's not how it works. How it works is that everyone and everything has its 100% version. Everyone and everything has its 100% version, regardless of what it or they believe. Regardless of how it or they choose to behave. And I'm not so worried about the its, because they all know. The four-leggeds, they're the superior ones. The oak trees, the aspens, they're the superior ones. Because they know. They participate in life at 100% all the time. They don't withhold like we do. You know what I mean by withholding?
Yes.
They don't do that. Our cats don't withhold. Zandro doesn't withhold, does he? No, not for a moment. They're all in all the time. Your beautiful dobies don't withhold, do they, Jackie? No. Stella doesn't withhold. Never. We do. Somewhere along the line, we got the message that withholding might be a way to get things our way. How's that going for you?
Here, here.
And it can become such a habit that we don't even realize we're doing it. And I'm not even talking about withholding from other people. Because please God, we have all learned by now that that is ridiculous. Oh, apparently some of you haven't. Well, let me just say this about that. We all have an ideal, moment by moment, because it changes, of how we want our life to feel. Would you agree?
Yes.
We all have an ideal. If in any given moment we're withholding our love, our affection, our attention, our willingness to be present from anyone, we are really withholding from ourselves. We are really withholding from ourselves, because what we're setting up is a push-pull that we are at the affect of. We may think somebody else is at the affect of it, but that's not how it works. Everything we do comes full circle. Everything we choose comes full circle. Everything we put out comes full circle. Everything we accept goes full circle. Everything. Okay, you can all breathe now. This one life that Ernest Holmes, our founder, wrote about so eloquently in The Science of Mind. This one life reveals itself through its creation, expresses itself through its creation, and everything is that creation. Including each one of us and each one of them. You just have to believe me. Does everybody know it?
No.
No. Would everybody, if we filled this room with everybody, would everybody go, oh yeah, that's right? No. Because we are given choice as part of this creation. We are given free will as part of this creation. And so we get to make up our minds for our own selves about what's true and what's not, what we choose to do with our life and what we don't, how we choose to think about and reflect upon other life or we don't, how we choose to take responsibility, what's authentic for us. We get to decide. Hallelujah! Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
1.5 people thought it was awesome. It's the most awesome thing in the world that we get to decide. We get to choose. We get to make up our own mind. I was talking with Denise this morning during our prayer time about reflecting on what it means to have a birthday. And it means a lot of things to me. I have always loved my birthday. No matter what else was going on in my life, I always loved my birthday. But this morning I said, I'm thinking about it now, and I'm realizing that a birthday is an opportunity to decide what's next. Not that every day doesn't offer us that same opportunity. Not that every moment doesn't offer us that same opportunity, because it does. But we aren't necessarily conscious to it. You know, we get up, we have our routine, we do our routine, we go to bed, we get up, we have our routine, we do our routine. Where's the stopping to look to see what might be next? What next step are we being enticed into by life? Like going to Esalen. What next step are we being invited into? And why am I so sure that's what happens? Because life is about growth. Life is about expansion. Life is about enhancement. And since it is whole, perfect, and complete, in its universal self. Aren't we?
Yes.
Of course. Do we feel like it?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Do we show it? Sometimes. So when we don't feel like it, or show it, or reveal it, which is the word that I love to use, am I revealing that life as me? Then there can't be a holding back. There cannot be a holding back. You know, I happen to know that Rita loves to laugh.
Yes.
Why not? Why not laugh and laugh all the time? Why not dance, Deanna Joy, and dance all the time? Why not? The opportunity to celebrate and to recognize that there is something to celebrate, there is something worth celebrating all the time, and to start with ourselves is the most important thing. Because we get kind of left at the end of our list. You know, we're celebrating the rain, or we're celebrating the beautiful blue sky, or we're celebrating that it's not too hot, or we're celebrating that it's not too cold, or we're celebrating that it's spring, or we're celebrating that it's fall, or we're celebrating that something resolved itself easily. But where are we celebrating ourselves? I'll tell you what, you start celebrating yourself, just give it a whirl. You start celebrating yourselves, and there'll be more to celebrate. And so it is.
Yes.